about your client wins. Think about what has been a success. You can also write about what has been a failure, because sometimes those failures actually they're progressive. They're a good thing. So wins are different for everybody. They are the case studies that build the trust with our community, that are where we're going, where we want our clients to head in that right direction. And it gives us the content to share. So it's a win-win for everyone when we share clinical wins.
Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. Don't forget to subscribe to receive the weekly episodes. And if you want to connect with me, always check the show notes, because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments and, of course, to join the Academy, the membership group, where there's constant connection and community with like-minded practitioners. Now, let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How the devil are you? So what have you been up to, and have you been enjoying yourself? Today, we're going to talk about using clinical wins. So what have you won at lately in your business with your people? And we're going to talk about using those clinical wins to market your practice, because we've been touching on that this month, haven't we? We've touched on the systems, reconnecting, getting people back, how to do that. Remember, I'm here to help you. Remember, you can book your one-to-ones with me, your focus calls. And of course, you could scroll down the bottom and give me a 5-star review. So since I've made that this month's motivator, let's do that. So when we think about our clinical wins, what are they? What are your clinical wins? Now, a clinical win can be the client that comes to you and they're going to the loo multiple times a day and they have pain, and you get that back to once, twice a day. You've got no pain. They're so much healthier and they're so much happier. So we can, of course, create information on that. We could write a blog about it, the simple things that we did. We can turn it into a case study. We can make sure we can go to the journals, see what they want. They have templates of how to write these things so that you could perhaps get an article in a journal. When we're thinking about those wins, what are they? They're going to be different for each and every client. They're going to be sometimes huge and sometimes really small, but they are what we use to teach our audience, okay, to share, to create that client trust, so to speak, all right? And it improves our steady growth when we do it. So how are we going to track those wins? Well, we can teach our audience to record symptom improvement, changes, those sorts of things. But of course, that's when they come back to see us. When we see them online or in clinic and we say, what has changed since last time I saw you? And they might go, oh, not a lot. Nothing's really changed. At which point you are then saying, okay, last time I saw you, you were going to the toilet 5 times a day. How many times are you going to the toilet now? Oh, twice a day. Oh, great. That's an improvement. When I very first saw you, you were going 20 times a day. I know that's my story that I use on a regular basis in this podcast. Sorry about that. You're getting bored with it, but that is a true story. So these things help us teach our audience who we see. They teach our audience what we can help and how we can help. And they teach us as well to improve what we're doing. Okay. So how are you tracking your clients' symptoms? Are you giving them a symptom tracker? All of the companies make beautiful ones. You can just download theirs for free. You can download theirs for free and make your own one. You could download theirs and rebadge it as yours. They don't mind. Because if you're going to their company, then chances are you're using their product. That's why they make things for you, right? So we do need permission before we share any of these things. We de-identify our client. So, female, 35, living alone, that sort of thing. And then we, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Smith, Mr. Smith. We call them Jane, call them John. But we make sure we have permission, especially if we think this person might be obvious who they are to them, not to the rest of the world, but to them, that we're telling their story because this person might see it on our social media and then go, hang on a minute, that's me. She didn't ask me if she could share anything about me. So we do need to make sure that we have that permission. And it's a good idea to have signed permission or at least record it in the client notes that they receive as well. So it's visible to them, visible to you. They've received them. A bit like the minutes at a meeting. If you're on a committee, like I'm on the board of HMS, so we have board meetings and everything is minuted. And you're kind of doing the same, aren't you, with your client notes? You're minuting the meeting with them. And in that, you're putting Marjorie has given the verbal okay for me to write a case study on her. And I will call her Jane throughout the case study. And I will share it with her, share the blog with her when it is completed. All right. So they know they're going to see it. They're going to find out about it. They're going to get it. And, you might complete it and send it off to them and they email you back and say, hey, you didn't say anything in here about the fact that I had, terrible pain in my ankles throughout all of this time. And that went away. You missed that. And that's significant for me. And you might go, oh, actually, I did miss that because I totally forgot and I hadn't put it in. And that really is part of this story. So we do need permission to share it. And we can create a blog. We can create social media posts about it. We can create mini case studies, client success quotes. I mean, client success quotes are slightly different to testimonials. So that person who hasn't given you the testimonial, that person who hasn't scrolled down and given me 5 stars for my podcast, that person. But chances are they've emailed me and said, hey, love the podcast. Or I've met them somewhere and they said, I love your podcast. I'm listening to it all the time. It's so cool. Thank you so much. So they're saying thank you so much. They're not necessarily writing it down. So we can call them client success quotes, all right, rather than saying this is a testimonial. Testimonials, generally, people have written them like that. But remember, you can actually adjust a testimonial. So it might be that the client says to you, or the testimonial, I should say, says, naturopath or nutritionist, whatever you are, did an amazing work. I lost so much weight and I feel amazing, right? And you only have a small space to write anything. So you think, well, that sentence is perfect, because then the person goes on to say, I was really struggling with my health. It was really difficult, and it's really long. And in actual fact, you only need that first sentence. And it might be the last sentence is the sentence that you want, not the first one or the middle sentence. And that's okay because you have the whole testimonial and it's all good. It's not like the first sentence says, loved working with Geraldine. She was amazing. She really helped me with my health. However, she's a nightmare to work with. Can't stand her really. Wish I'd never been to see her, but I'm getting a 5-star because she asked me to. So we're not taking out all the negative stuff. I've got 1 5-star review on my Google My Business. And the guy has written, she's amazing. She's really helped me, even though she's a Kiwi. So, people do write things, their reviews, which you won't necessarily use the whole thing, right? But this social proof, it builds the trust. And it means that people are more likely to work with you because marketing is storytelling. Okay, we've got to tell the stories within our marketing. And that's not bragging. It's just telling a story. Okay. And I think we have to understand the difference between marketing, storytelling, and bragging. So marketing is something we do. It's a combination of different things. We might be telling a story one day. We might be saying our availability the next day. We might be posting about ourselves the following day. That's all marketing. It's all of the parts to it. All right. The storytelling is telling that story, whatever it is. My client feels amazing. This, that, and the other has happened. And this is all what's happened. Or I started in this business because of this, that, and the other thing. Or this is where I work. Come and see where I work. This is where you'll sit. This is the study I've done. It's a story. Okay. Those are the stories that we have. And none of that is bragging. It's just who you are and what you do. All right. It's the success stories. People need to know that you were good. A friend of mine's gone for surgery and it's difficult surgery that she's going for and it's worrying surgery. And so she asked, does anyone know this surgeon? And I happen to be in a world where people know surgeons. So the people are like, yeah, he's amazing. We really like him. So she wants to find out. And so, fine, that's going for surgery in a hospital, but she's still asking about him, right? Before you go to a cafe to buy a coffee, if you're in a new area, you will still look on Google My Business to see which place has the best coffee, won't you? It's the same thing. We have to share to build that trust, whether you're a coffee shop, whether you're a massage therapist, doesn't matter what you do, we have to tell those stories to build that trust and build that social proof. Okay. Now, obviously, what else have we got? Obviously, there's no obvious about anything, as they're always learning all of the time. Everyone is only just one step ahead of you. And we're using those clinical wins to send an email, to write a blog, to share it on our socials, to share it. Maybe you can turn that blog into a visual and you can put it on Pinterest, wherever you may be. You Google My Business, you could put some of it onto that when you do an update. It's really important that we have these testimonials or client stories or case studies. And a case study, 32-year-old female came to me with blah, blah, blah. We might say we gave them a herbal mix, 2 supplements, diet change, and exercise, which they hadn't done before. We don't say we gave them this herb, we gave them that supplement, we gave them this, that, and the other thing, because that means that you're turning into an influencer, and we don't want to do that. All right. We don't want to hold up a bottle and go, this is amazing, use this, because then you become an influencer. And as practitioners under the TGA in Australia, we're not allowed to do that. We can't hold up a bottle of something and go, yay, go take this. All right. We're not allowed to do that. That's against TGA rules. So we do have to be a little bit careful what we say when we write these things, but in a way, it makes it easier because it takes out telling people what your herbal mix was. You can just say, I used a herbal mix with these are alcoholic tinctures. How do we create alcoholic tinctures? Why do we use alcohol? There's another whole blog. Think about what else is in there that you can go off on a tangent, and hey presto, you've got another blog. Now, I have VAs, as you know, they will do all your postings on social media for you. So if you produce a blog, you give it to your VA breaks it up into pieces. They might get you to do a bit of video of yourself as well so that they can then turn that into more of a visual. They might turn it into a carousel for you. There's all different ways that VAs can use this content so that it's shareable. It's on graphics, it's blog posts, there's short blogs. Carousels are great when you've done a blog. You can turn it into a carousel. So these wins, these client wins, are really important. So I guess that's your homework for today, is to think about your client wins. Think about what has been a success. You can also write about what has been a failure, because sometimes those failures actually they're progressive. They're a good thing. My failure once, I asked the lady what she had for lunch. I said, what were the ingredients, or what did you have in your lunch today? I said something like that. So it was a relatively specific question, which meant that she wanted to tell the truth. So she said she had bread, the meat, onion, sauce, some cheese, tomato, and lettuce. I was like, oh, wow, that's great. If there's salad going on there, that's fabulous. How about you put apple cider vinegar on it and some olive oil, to da-da-da-da-da. And then she came back, however long she I said, oh, how'd you get on with putting apple cider vinegar and oil on your salad? She said, oh, actually, it wasn't very nice. It was really soggy. I was like, oh, why is that? Because it was a burger. All right. So, so that can be turned into a blog in itself. That was a fail on my behalf, wasn't it? But at the same time, I thought she was eating a salad. There's a blog. What is a salad? What makes up a salad? Is it the ingredients in a burger from one of the big burger chains? Or is it how big is a salad? What is in a salad? There's the start of a blog already. So these fails can be a blog, because then it's the understanding of what a salad really is. But they can be a win as well, because then at that appointment, taught her about salads, what to put in a salad, what a salad should be in. I said, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I could make that. I could have that on the side, because she really wanted her burger. And so she got the burger once a week, which is what she wanted, but she got salads 6 days a week, which is a win. So wins are different for everybody. They are the case studies that build the trust with our community, that are where we're going, where we want our clients to head in that right direction. And it gives us the content to share. So it's a win-win for everyone when we share clinical wins. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm here for you. You can book a focus call anytime. There's the podcast downloads from other episodes. It's geraldineheadley.com. I think you have to do the www and the H in front to actually find it. But it's all there waiting for you. There's lots of content, lots of information there so that you can keep going on this journey. And let me know how you go. I'd love to hear from you. So have a good one, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.